And now we begin the play The Dreamer, written by Bonnie Ask and yours truly, Christy Miller.
The kids can come forward.
What is this? Looks kind of interesting. What do we got here?
You can send all the Sunday school kids out here.
Sunday school kids.
Well, there they are.
Look at all these pictures. Wow. It's from 2001.
What are you doing? Sunday school's going to start pretty soon.
Well, it looks like we here at Hazel Park Church are going to be celebrating being 125 years old.
What? No way. Wow, 125 years. That's a really long time. Man, was that during the dinosaurs? Look, there's something about people who used to live in 1895.
Oh yeah, let me see that. Oh, that sounds so cool. Hey kids, you better get going. You're gonna be late for Sunday school. Bye.
And so, the dreamer dreams of our founding 125 years ago. But our story started hundreds of years before with the dreams of our founders' ancestors. Thomas Leon's fifth great-grandmother, Margaret Fry, was born in Fairfield, Connecticut in 1642 and married Richard Leon from England. They were one of the first Puritan settlers in the colony of Connecticut. By 1814, Thomas's grandfather, Seth, had moved from Connecticut to Lima, New York. Thomas was born in Lima. His wife, Elizabeth Purdy, was also born there, as were her parents. They were married in 1864. Thomas and Elizabeth lived with Elizabeth's parents. Thomas worked as a clerk, perhaps under his father-in-law, who was a tailor. By 1871, they had moved to St. Paul. They lived at 1019 White Bear Avenue. They were married 7 years when son Clarence was born. Charlie was born 8 years later. Edward Tickle was born in 1863 in Minnesota. His parents were German immigrants. His wife Hester was born in Pennsylvania, as were her parents. We don't know how or when Edward and Hester each came to St. Paul, but they were married here in 1890. Edward became a salesman of farm-related equipment. Hester and Edward lived at 1023 White Bear Avenue. They had 3 sons, Edward, Harold, and George. born in the first 5 years of their marriage. William Ames' family can be traced back to the 1660s in Plymouth, Massachusetts, on his father's side. His mother's family immigrated to this country in the 1830s from Germany and the Netherlands and settled in New Jersey. William's great-grandfather, John Ames, was a captain in the 3rd Plymouth Regiment during the Revolutionary War. John Ames was also an iron worker and established the Ames Shovel Company around 1774. Ames shovels became standard issue to troops in the U.S. Army for every conflict from the American Civil War to current day. William was born in 1846 in New Jersey. In the early 1850s, his family moved to St. Paul, where his father farmed. Helen's father was born in Nova Scotia, Canada, and her mother was born in Ireland. Helen's paternal grandparents migrated from Ireland sometime before 1820. Helen was born in Canada in 1856 and spoke French. It is unknown how she made her way to St. Paul, but it is known that her father died in Iowa. William and Helen married on December 21st, 1874 in St. Paul. William was a farmer, and they lived at 1667 Stillwater Avenue. Eugene Hubbell's mother's family were living in Connecticut and Rhode Island in the 1600s. Eugene's great-grandfather, John Patrick, fought in the Revolutionary War as a colonel in the 7th Regiment of the New York Militia, while his great-grandmother stayed home to take care of their 5 children, all under 8. Eugene's grandparents, Zelman and Lucinda, were born in Connecticut and moved to Hartwick, New York. Their son Wellington married Mary Patrick, and they moved to Sauk County, Wisconsin in their early 20s. Eugene was born about 1857 in Reedsburg, Wisconsin. He became a physician. By 1885, he was living in Clearwater, Minnesota. Cora May's family can be traced back to the early 1600s when they immigrated from Suffolk, England, to Massachusetts. Her 6 great-grandparents, John Howland and Elizabeth Tilley, came to the American colonies on the Mayflower. Cora's father, Chase Cummings, was born in Massachusetts, and her mother, Mary, was born in Pennsylvania. By 1867, Cora's parents were living in Iowa. Chase served as a company sergeant in the 6th Regiment of the United States Colored Troops in the Civil War. Cora was born in 1869 in Keokuk, Iowa. Shortly after her birth, her parents moved the family to a farm near Clear Lake, Minnesota. Cora met Dr. Eugene Hubbell in Clearwater, and they were married in 1888. By 1895, they had moved to St. Paul's East Side, living at 687 East 7th Street. At the time of the church's founding, the Hubbells had 3 children under 5. Edwin and Emma Fabian were born in England about 1843. They were married in 1864 and had their first 3 children in England before they migrated to Montreal, Quebec around 1870. In Montreal, they had 6 more children. Edwin was a pattern maker, and Emma took care of the household and children. They were members of the Church of England. In 1892, they migrated to the United States with at least 5 of their adult children. They settled in St. Paul, living at 737 East 5th Street.
I think you've been dreaming.
Oh, yes, I have. Oh, it was so real. All about people from 1894 when our church first began. You know, this is the history of our church. It's really an exciting time for our church to celebrate.
What is this?
Well, that's a list of all the events that are planned this year to celebrate our 125th anniversary.
It looks like there's something every month.
That's right. Every third Sunday, something is going to happen.
It looks like there's going to be a special Sunday.
Yes, this fall we're going to be inviting a lot of special people back. We're going to ask people who have been baptized here and people who were confirmed. I'm looking forward to hearing past and present choir members sing in October. And there's going to be a big banquet in November. Let's all stand up. Everybody, please repeat after me. Happy 125 years, Hazel Park, UCC.
Happy 125 years, Hazel Park, UCC.
Now let's all sing, There's a Christian Welcome Here. It's printed on an insert in your bulletin.
peace of Christ and let the people say,